Welcome back. We're still with public affairs analyst, Professor Femi Odekunle. Welcome again to the program.
Thank you.
Now, we're focusing on the 2015 general elections, the outcome, and really what sort of effect is this going to have on the electorate. Now, this administration is going to come in, of course, after May 29 by God's grace. What should be the focus of the incoming government?
In terms of focus, I have about 4 or 5 ideas of what should concern General Buhari as he comes in. First of all, he should realize that he has no excuse not to perform. He has people's goodwill. He's elected across the country. His party controls both the 2 arms of the National Assembly, and people seem to believe that his leadership, in terms of orientation and disposition, is tested and trusted. So he should know that, unlike perhaps other leaders before him, he has no excuse. Secondly, he needs to sort out the wheat from the chaff of his followers. In appointing people, in giving people assignments to do, he should do his best to try to sort the wheat from the chaff and make sure that his interest is the interest of the average citizen. Now, thirdly, is that he should hit the ground running, not in terms of fixing roads or giving us light.
Shouldn't light be part of the package?
I'm saying it cannot be done in a day, but there is something more important than that. What I call intangibles. These intangibles must come in within the first week of his assuming office for people to have the psyche that they have new leadership. I'm calling them intangible. For example, it is important that the ethos of discipline be brought back to Nigeria. It should be a mixture of the wise of the 1980s plus Fashola's carrot and stick approach to disciplining people in Lagos, about the use of roads, about coming to work on time, about not attaching sirens to every Dick and Harry, about not troubling people on the road when they are using the road, about people going to classroom, whether primary school or secondary or universities, on time to give lectures, about public servants' attitude to serving the population. These are things he should do within the first 1 week, meaning to say, this is the direction I'm going. I want a disciplined society. Not jackboot discipline, don't get me wrong, no. That people should keep to time when they have a conference or a meeting. People should go to work on time. People should, the policemen, civil servants should not behave as our bosses. They should behave as people serving us as consumers. Now, then there is, of course, matter of security. Security, to me, well, that is his area. But as a civilian who is a little bit informed because of my criminology and knowledge about security, it should be easy. Just our military people are capable. They should just be equipped appropriately, and their welfare should be taken care of. And all these mopo, who I now call Migad, who are actually trained to maintain peace, like riots, demonstrations, should be drafted to the northeast, meaning that the military intelligence, SSS people who are from that area should be drafted to those areas to give information to help the military. And immediately they capture a place, a good number of Mopol, because we have many of them, should be drafted there to maintain. After all, our Mopos are sent abroad for peacekeeping in different countries. Are
you saying the issue of terrorism would of course come to an end with this new government?
No, it cannot come to an end. What will happen is that it will be so degraded that it will be like a distant echo. That's my own understanding within a few months. But in terms of security, people also mistake that problem of insecurity for our general problem of insecurity. We have general problem of insecurity, armed robbery, assassination, what they call two fighting, burglary. This one is a long-term business of getting the police to do their work, of getting the judiciary to spend more money on the lower courts, area courts, customary courts, and magistrate courts, who handle most of the cases, so that when people see there is justice, it helps. And of course, there needs to be weighting of offenses. That is, weighting of punishment for offenses. Of minor offenses are given sure prison terms. Corruption offenses are given light sentences and fines. This does not create a good environment to attack criminality. Instead, it creates a crimogenic environment in which majority of population believes that crime pays if they have the money to hire the lawyers. Now let's go to the matter of economy. Again, I'm not an economist, but I have common sense. The thing is, there must be reduction in cost of governance. Why would a governor be giving security votes? Why don't you give the money directly to the people in charge of security and make them accountable? That's a good. It's like slush money. And then all the facilities, in quote, available to public officers, they have to be reduced, if not withdrawn. In terms of an officer having 4 or 5 cars attached to him, having 4 or 5 policemen attached to him, and so on and so forth, you have to find a way of reducing cost of governance by the executive, by the National Assembly, and by the civil servants. But major thing you have to do is to create employment. And I say, if you spend money on infrastructure, it will create jobs. Say, take railway. If you decide to wire the country with railways from top to bottom, east to west, and you give it to a Canadian company, a Russian company, an American company, a Russian company, a Chinese company, that if you do this for us, we've loaned from World Bank or whatever, we will pay you over time, and you could even manage and operate for the next 10, 25 years. That will encourage agriculture, because people who are doing railway building must eat. That will encourage the employment of our engineers and technicians. That will encourage the employment of clerks, and so on and so forth. And this will continue for 10, 15, 20 years, because government cannot employ everybody. Finally, the man should attend to corruption, which is his fault. Is that going to be very important? Yes. Actually, it's major, but I'm talking about it last. As of now, we have legal and subcultural problems with EFCC and ICPC by the way their laws are made. By the way their laws are made, only those who have been in the police or security before, ICPC only those who have been a judge before. Those are actually wrecking provisions. Anybody with integrity can give leadership to those institutions. Secondly, the way those places are staffed have to do with recruitment from existing police forces, which means they are transferring their subculture to this new institution, whereas it is possible to hire young graduates, about 3,000, and get international aid to train them, and they will be committed to the objectives of the organization. But most important, I think, this new president should set up a non-judicial truth and restitution commission, whereby people could come forward, say they have stolen, and you get a proportion, maybe 75%, 90% back, and you say, go and say no more. And after you have tried that, you will now have a formula whereby you check people. Okay, you were a palm sec 20 years ago. We discovered that you have 30 houses. You send 20 children to school abroad. Can you please relate that to your income? And on that basis, you now attach sanction. First, you have given 6 months to 1 year for people to come forward with this non-legal, non-judicial commission of inquiry to say, come forward and confess your sins in court. If you don't, after 6 months, and we start investigating as far back as possible, we will take you to court.
Maybe if you bring up such remedies, I mean, shouldn't we first look at the Ministry of Petroleum, where constantly we're having figures being, found missing?
Oh no, those are instances. I would like that. That of National Assembly, pension scam, Pentacom, petroleum, and so on and so forth. Oh, of course, that one does not prevent what I've suggested. What I've suggested, Truth and Restitution Commission, does not suggest that you will not do anything about those, or that the EFCC or the ICPC should stop working. No, but that for a systematic attack on this cancer, which I've said is more dangerous to our survivor than terrorism, for a systematic, you need this kind of truth and Restoration Commission, giving people the opportunity to examine their conscience and think of the future and say, well, if I don't do this, what punishment come tomorrow? They do not know. And I think it's like a carrot and stick approach, but it must be dealt with.
Now, apart from the intangibles that you mentioned, I mean, are you absolutely confident that in 4 years we would see a visible difference in terms of power, for instance?
I do not know. But all I know for sure is that insofar the leadership is focused, is seen as not corrupt, and its lieutenants are not corrupt, it will radiate down to whoever is operating power, who is operating the roads, who is operating whatever. But the situation in which you say you have privatized electricity, these people were supposed to have gone through due diligence before you sold them this discourse. And at the end of the day, the CBN or whoever is giving them 250 billion naira to help them sustain their work. That is using public money for private interest. You sold it to them. They paid. You saw their papers. How come they are suddenly disabled? And you have to use government money to shore up this discourse. But when there's a leadership that you know is not going to tolerate nonsense, it will radiate down.
Well, that's as far as we can go. Professor Odekunle, thank you very much for your thoughts and for coming on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for your comments as always. Be a part of the program by sharing your experience with us using the address and Twitter handle on your screen. And you can also let us know what is happening within your locality, especially if you're in the nation's capital. Don't you forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. Make your comments after viewing the current video as well as older episodes of the program. Always remember to include your name and where you're writing from. I'm Gloria Umezuki. Thank you for watching this week. See you again.